Hello everyone and welcome to the Money Man. Now, I've got a trip down memory lane for you today. This is a bit of nostalgia for me because I used to live in Australia for a short time a few years ago, and I always loved Australian notes, but unfortunately I was too poor to actually keep any for collecting purposes. But now, thankfully, times have changed and I've got a full set of Australian dollars here for you today. Now, this is the current circulating series of Australian dollars, but I'll show you some of the previous iterations of Australian dollars which they've subsequently changed in recent years. So, let's start off with the lowest denomination, which is the 5 Australian dollar note. Of course, these are all polymer notes, and Australia was one of the first countries in the world actually to introduce polymer notes much earlier than other countries. So yes, you can see we've got the reigning monarch of the Commonwealth, Queen Elizabeth II, on the front. And if we turn it around and look at the back, I believe this is the Parliament building in Canberra. Anybody please correct me if I am wrong in the Australian Capital Territories, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that is. Okay, there we go. So, next one is the 10 Australian dollar note, and here it is. So the man on the front of this is called Banjo Patterson, and what I really like about this note is that obviously, like the 5, you've got this clear window in the middle, but if you turn it towards the light, you get the reflection of these nice little images, these security features embedded into the note. With the denominational value embedded in, and I think that's a really cool feature. Makes these some of the more secure notes in the world. Absolutely fantastic. If we turn it around, if we look at the back, actually we've got a Dame Mary Gilmore on the back, which is a really nice note. Really like these notes. The colours are really bright and vibrant, and so much fine detail in these. So yeah, now I'll show you one of the previous issues of the $10 note, and here it is. So you can see some differences. The clear window in the middle has gone, but we've got this one here, and the print on this is not great actually, because the image is just slightly off to the right. It's a bit askew, so the print on this one is not great. But we've got the same gentleman, Banjo Patterson, on the front, and if we swing it around, you can see again we've got Dame Mary Gilmore one more time. So this, like I said, is a previous issue, but it is no longer being printed. So let's move on back to the current issues. Here we've got the 20. So if we have a look on the 20, the lady on the front of this note is actually quite interesting because she was born very close to where I was born, and her name was Molly Haydock, and she was actually from Bury in Lancashire. I personally am from Lancashire, so I was quite amazed to find this out. And she was a prominent merchant, ship owner and trader, and obviously moved to Australia and made that her home. But if we turn it around and look at the back, we've got the Reverend John Flynn on the back. You can see there's a nice sort of old aircraft there, really nice. Fantastic note, loads of detail in these, really good. I won't talk too much about the people represented in the notes because I've got quite a lot to get through today. Now, let's move on to the 50. I love the colour scheme of this. Beautiful note. Now, I'm really sorry to any indigenous peoples out there, any Aborigines. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this gentleman's name because even the anglicised version of it I'm struggling with. But I think his name is David Napon. Now, I'm really sorry if that's wrong, but he was sort of like a prominent indigenous inventor. I think he did poetry as well, and numerous other things. And he's featured on the front of the $50 note. Excuse me. And on the back, we've got a lady called Edith Cohen. Again, I won't go into too much detail, but you can see there's just so much going into these notes. I feel that these notes are very much representative of the story of Australia and how Australia has become a fantastic country that it is today. Hopefully it will continue to be fantastic in the future. Now, the final one is the $100 note, and I think this is my favourite because it strikes a chord with me, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Now, if we go back to this, here you can see this is the front of the $100 note, and this is Dame Nellie Melba, and you can see there's loads of little small features in this note. You've got all sorts of nice, beautiful designs, and it's very artsy, very artistic, very beautiful. And if we turn it around, this has got to be my favourite part, the reverse. So what you've got on the back of this $100 note are the Australian and New Zealand soldiers, Anzacs. But the Australian soldiers during the First World War were often referred to as diggers. So a more appropriate description of these men will be diggers. And it's just to celebrate and commemorate their heroic efforts during the First World War. You remember that the Australians were at the forefront of the Gallipoli campaign, as were, the British and the French were also involved, but it really became a big story back in Australia, and you really start to see the real formation of sort of the Anzac spirit during the Gallipoli campaign. So I think this note really does do justice to that. And there's a very famous story about a man who had a donkey who relentlessly went about trying to save injured diggers during the Gallipoli campaign. So if you want to look into that story, just look into it, and it's a really, really, really wonderful and quite sad and harrowing tale at the same time. But it shows you the sacrifice and the bravery of these men who did everything they could in service of what was the British Empire then. And in the middle we've got Sir John Monash, another great Australian. And yeah, I absolutely love this note. And for me, it's got some personal relevance because I did some charity work for the Return Service League when I was in Australia. And obviously the Return Service League look after soldiers. So yeah, for me this is a fantastic note, and I really, really, really love the design. So that's the full set that I have for you today, including a little extra. And let me know what you think. Do you think this is a great set? Personally, I love it. I love the colour schemes. I love the level of detail. I love all the history and culture that's represented in it. One of my favourite sets by far. Now, just at the end of this video, I'm just going to throw in something a little bit random. I just acquired some rather unusual coins, and here is the first one. So, if I can get the camera to focus, there we go. So this is a plastic coin from Transnistria. Now, you're probably wondering, what on earth is Transnistria? Well, it's a small republic that is broken away from Moldova, and it's actually an unrecognized state, and obviously a very, 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 very poor one, because their money is pretty awful. But I picked these up just because they're so unique. Again, if I can get the camera to focus, there we go. Really bizarre coins, and the reverse is pretty much the same for all of them, so I won't keep showing that. But yeah, these are prominent figures from, I guess, what Transnistrians would regard as their culture. There we go. The value of these is terrifyingly low. Sorry about the camera, guys. It's struggling to focus on these because they're not, well, let's just say that they're not the most expensive productions of coins ever made. And there we go. So yeah, that's just a small thing I thought I'd throw in at the end there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see any high definition images of anything that I've put up in this video, please go down to the description and you can find a link to my Facebook page, which is also called The Money Man, and you can look through my entire album. Everything that is featured here is of my own personal collection. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye bye.